Welcome to this special edition of the Ross Owen Show, coming to you from Buckinghamshire at the home of Nolan Hemmings, who played Chuck Grant in Band of Brothers. Now, many of you guys who listen to the Band of Brothers cast interviews we do on Black Sky Radio will remember Nolan Hemmings probably about 8 years ago saying he would like to host the very first UK Band of Brothers cast reunion. Well, that's why we're here today. Yesterday, for the first time, Nolan put together the first cast reunion in the UK, and we spoke to some of the guys who were here. Let's hear what they had to say.
I went to the 75th anniversary of Normandy in June this year, and a lot of the guys showed up because we probably may be the last time we do that.
It's a very odd mixture of things, Normandy. Huge fun. A bit crazy because we're signing as well, and I don't act anymore, so that's weird. And the history, you know, the reality of the whole thing, which is just too big to take in.
You go each year and there's less and less of them, and you know, and you hear their stories, and some of them are really not in any state to talk about stuff anymore. But then there's other guys that they're in their mid-90s and they're still running around, and yeah, what was he, 98 years old, the guy who jumped out the plane? And yeah, so that was great seeing all the vets there.
There's so many emotions that you go through. You feel there's, you know, you feel sadness, you feel joy, you feel, you know, the strength of that, of what they did, the liberation of that part of France at that time, D-Day. You feel the camaraderie, you feel the unification of the countries. So many people go. There were 16 million people in Normandy over that week. So for that was amazing. And going to the churches and going to these other, you know, various Breckel Manor and all these other places where either Easy Company were or other places where the other companies were.
The people come very respectfully. They seem to be able to acknowledge the fact that it's this amazing Spielberg-Hanks TV series that's obviously historic in its own right, but it's also about stuff that really happened. And it seems like there are a lot of people, the people who come seem to definitely be they straddle both worlds very well. They seem to be interested in both. They want to preserve the military history as much as they want to enjoy the series. So I think that's pretty special, actually.
We're all privileged to be here. It's like to be with each other after all this time and be a part of something that, I mean, it's like, you know, each moment is together as a gift.
When I was with everyone, I just thought, we've got to see each other more, you know, because that's what those guys would want. And, you know, in terms of like, it's not just the show, it's like the show is carried on, the story carries on, the story lives on because it's a historical, you know, event, a very significant one. So that's what I think was amazing, was the fact that when we reconnected, we were like, we've got to keep going, we've got to keep reconnecting, which is why we decided to do our first reunion in 19 years, which is a long time. But, you know, the boys in the States do it every year. The fact is that this is a good venue for getting everyone together. It can handle a lot of people, a lot of kids, it's fun, there's a pool, there's plenty of space, and if the weather's like it was this weekend, which is glorious, there's just no better place really to get everyone together. So that's why I thought, well, I've got the right space for it. You know, we run this house as a business anyway. We do weddings and all sorts of other, you know, things through the season, birthday parties and various reunions, and, you know, even just family get-togethers, things like that. So it was a natural fit, and I just thought, well, I need to host it because, you know, obviously, one, I really want this to happen. I want everyone to get together, and we talked about it when we were out there, and we all agreed we had to do it. And so, of course, I just said, well, let's do it at mine. My house is perfect for it.
Stunning house, beautiful swimming pool, hot tub in the middle of the countryside. It's, you know, I mean, it can't get much better really. But the highlight for me is, yes, it's an amazing location and the weather's been great, but just to see everyone again, you know, it was great to see all the boys. You know, some of the guys I haven't seen since the series. Some of them, obviously, they came to Normandy. But, you know, guys like Dexter and Damien and Mark turned up, you know, those guys I haven't seen for 19 years.
So Damien Lewis was here, Dexter Fletcher was here, Tim Matthews, Christian Black, Peter McCabe was here. We had Nick Aaron here as well with his kids. Peter Youngblood Hills was here. Mark Jordan was here, Rick Warden was here, Bart Rispoli was here.
I don't know any other thing that I've done in my life that's sort of bonded me to people in that way. Very strange, in a good way. And I really felt last night the people that have made, I think, more of an effort because they've not done anything like this before. Some of us obviously have met in Normandy the last couple of years, and some of the other guys have met in all sorts of other situations prior to that. I think it was a bit easier for us in the sense that there's been a precedent, we've caught up, but there are a few people who came last night who I haven't seen since Band of Brothers, and who definitely didn't need to make the effort. Probably wouldn't for any other show that they've done. Like, I don't really hear about this stuff happening. And they were here.
And everyone mucked in, and everyone was really keen to see each other. And what was really nice is we all got to be together with our families, with our kids, with our wives or girlfriends, and you know, and that's really special for us all to kind of be a part of that, because just being the lads together is one thing, but we also have a life with our families and our kids as well. It's separate from that. So it was nice to bring all that together, and to really hang out with your good mates' kids is quite a thing, because that's, you know, that's their little people. So that's an amazing thing to spend time with your friends' kids like that.
Chatting about it, it really felt like we were all together yesterday. It's pretty cool, and we all just feel like brothers still. You know, as soon as someone comes in the door, a new person comes to the house, it's all like big hugs, kisses, like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. You know, and it was great to be here early yesterday, and like just see everyone as they arrived at the house, and yeah, it was just really quite a really special day.
The main thing is to have as many as we can get together, and you know, and see if some of the boys from the States, if they're going to be in town for whatever reason, we can fit that in as well, because it'd be nice to have some of them here. But you know, we're going to do it every year because we all want to see each other. And you know, it's a surprise to us all, the Brit side, that we haven't in 19 years. And now that we have, we've got to keep that going, you know.
I'd love to get the guys from the States over to one of the reunions, or to any of them, you know, once we start. This is the ball starting rolling.
Yeah, if anyone from any of the lads from the States are watching, and you are ever anywhere near here, and I mean anywhere near, even if it's a few hours, definitely make the effort. From a completely shallow perspective, you'll just have a lovely time, because it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous house, gorgeous grounds. But also Nolan and Lisa's hospitality is absolutely second to none. Very generous, lovely people. And you'll get to see us in our natural habitat.
And maybe eventually have, you know, the big reunion, you know, where everybody's together. I don't know where that would be, but maybe back in England, maybe that would be interesting.
I hadn't sort of set out to be an actor, but when I was on the production, I watched the stills photographers working on it, and there were 3 different stills guys that worked over the whole series, and I watched them on set and just thought, and I was already doing a bit of snowboarding photography and water sports photography and stuff like that anyway. But when I saw what they were doing on set, and you know, especially on action movies, because I do a lot of extreme sports myself, so I saw a lot of the action they were shooting, and I thought, you know, it's great to be in front of camera, but for me, I knew that wasn't my future, and I really thought that's the job I want. And you know, and back in 2000, I decided, yeah, I want to be a stills photographer in the movie industry.
Flicking through Christian's pictures, which are amazing, and he's a photographer, right? That's what he does for a job now. He took some incredible photos, and what's amazing about looking at them, I don't remember him having a camera. I don't remember him being like a photographer amongst us. He was just another one of the guys. But they're so brilliant. There's lots of fantastic portraits. There's some really great candid shots of just us doing stuff. And he's taken loads. There's, I think, 5 or 6 packs with more than 30 pictures in each one.
It's amazing. All the boys are here, and they're all going through all the packs of photos and remembering old times, and oh my God, look how young I look there, and we all look like babies.
I didn't know we're supposed to grow older. I didn't get that idea. That's really just been dawning on me. I've been like, we grow up? Is this part of it? But it's kind of, you know, with Band of Brothers, at least you have some reference and framework. It's been 18 years.
So I was 30 then, or around 30, but I look like a kid. I look like I'm 15 or 18 or something. And a lot of us do look really young, and I think we've all weathered quite well, actually, considering.
So Rick Warden has been fascinated with the idea of boot camp and a revisitation of the actual place at Longmoor where we did boot camp, and made his documentary that we watched this year in Normandy, because it's still 18 years on, 19 years on for us, haunting him really. It was. I think that was a very cathartic experience, because just for those, whatever it was, 12 days or something that we were there, it was intense. It's not a normal experience. And maybe, just maybe, even a bit more intense for different reasons than being in the actual army or being in the actual forces, because you go on to use that in a way that's life-saving. You know, it has a very applicable meaning. We did it just as sort of intensively for those 12 days, and it was just for a flipping TV series. And you know, we were kind of ill-prepared for it, probably feeling a bit hard done by, because we were broken down psychologically and very systematically and very capably by Dale Dye for a sodding TV show. It felt a bit unjust, I think, and it had a lot of interesting ramifications, I think, for people. So it was hell. I didn't enjoy it at all, but retrospectively, probably one of the most memorable things I've ever done, one of the most amazing things I've done. Got through it, and I'm able to laugh a lot about it now, and probably get more value from it than I thought I ever would.
I've always been pretty physically fit, and obviously I did some military stuff as well, so I was kind of used to that, and I'd already been trained to march and fire weapons, and so it wasn't as alien to me as the actors coming in. At the end of episode 1, Richard Longcrane, the director of episode 2, came up to me, and he was looking for people for parts on the next episode. And yeah, he walked up to me and said, I want you to be a character called Walter Hendricks. Are you interested, kind of thing? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, going through those trenches and with all the explosions and gunfire and everything else, and I was the 30 cal A gunner. So yeah, it was all very intense, felt incredibly real.
Covered a lot of ground at night, which was incredibly boring, and we were completely silent. We were exhausted, and we had this huge battle when we arrived at wherever it was. We'd been doing this for like 3 hours, going through the forest, and as soon as all the weapons went off, all of those muzzle flashes in the dark and the noise, and we didn't know what was going on. The machine guns and shouting, and God knows what else, and obviously everybody completely forgetting their training and firing their own rifles, right next to my ear or near eyes, all the stuff you're not supposed to do. Yeah, that felt quite real, and I needed a piss quite desperately in that moment. Managed to keep it in.
You can hardly see it in the series, but there was a bit before we got to the cannons, there was me and Plesher in the trees, and they had squibs set up all the way along the front of us to go off, because the camera was right on us firing the 30 cal, and I was feeding the ammo into the 30 cal, and Plesher was gunning. And as we were firing the 30 cal, all these squibs were going off in front of us, and all this mud was going in our face. And you were actually watching Germans, because they probably had another camera on them as well at the same time, because they were trying to film as quick as they could. So you've got the Germans on the other side of the field that you're firing at, and they were going down. You were firing, and these guys were dropping like flies, and with all this stuff going off in your face and that happening in front of you, it couldn't feel much more real. It was a crazy experience.
I'm going to have to credit Dale Dye. Probably got a lot to do with how he broke us all down military style at boot camp and kind of eradicated that social hierarchy and put in place the kind of military hierarchy, which is completely different.
His whole thing about doing this boot camp with us and the other guys, he wanted everyone to be a team, and he wanted us all to be a unit and all to bond, and it worked. We're all here at Nolan's 19 years later, and a lot of the guys turned up. Some of the guys that didn't wish they could have been here, but everyone's had little things that they couldn't come for whatever reasons, but we had a really good turnout here, and it's I think that shows how much we bonded on that film.
And I've got a 50-minute interview with Dale, during which he goes into a lot of detail about his methodology and why he was given free rein, really, on Band of Brothers to fully take a bunch of actors, put them through a proper boot camp, 1940 style, which of course he didn't know anything about before that, so that when we were on screen, we weren't acting. Those sequences where we're doing manoeuvres and recreating those battle sequences, we're not really acting. It's pretty automatic because we were a unit. Personally, I probably could have fired my mortar, my 60mm mortar, with some accuracy if we had live rounds. We actually learnt things in that much detail. So how much impact did that have on the series? I would say more than people are aware of. I'm not even sure that the people who made the series are quite aware of the impact it had.
I would have loved to spend some time. I've had so much respect for what they did now. It's just unbelievable. It's just, you look at what they created, the artistry, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, loads of people from the show have done really well in their careers, you know, and that's a testament to, I think, the casting directors and how well they chose these really good actors who were unknown at the time. James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Damien, you know, Dexter. They've all, I mean, and more. Tom Hardy. There's loads. So, you know, it's a testament to the people who chose those actors and how good they are, and their careers have gone because of how good they are, and you know, and they've stood the test of time. You know, acting is a tough game, and you can either stick with it and hope for the best, or you just, you know, you move on, you do something else, or you hit it really big. And those boys, they all deserve it because they are fantastic.
Band of Brothers was, if not the first job for a lot of people, it was the first sort of serious role they had. And a lot of the roles that people had weren't huge. Let's be honest, I mean, it's such an ensemble piece. People had quite small slices of that pie, really, apart from the sort of handful of characters that featured in every episode.
So when I stopped acting, I basically moved on. I started a business with some friends, and that evolved. And then I bought property through what I did in my life after acting, and now I run those properties as a business. So I basically do events, do weddings, host people. We have a property in Australia. We have this house here. We have a place in London, and I manage all of those things and sort of, you know, make it work, and people can enjoy the spaces and the sort of the lifestyle that I choose to live, and that's a nice thing to share. You know, it's fun. It's fun to do it like that for me. So that's what I'm doing now, and that's why it's just such a good fit to have the reunion here, because it's kind of set up for it. It's set up for that kind of event.
How do you feel the morning after the night before?
How do I look? Why do you think I've got my shades on? Yeah, no, we had a big night. I mean, we had so much booze down there in our ice buckets, and I thought, wow, and then I woke up this morning and I looked out, I was like, wow, we finished it all. I mean, literally nearly finished it all. So yeah, we had a really good session. We got stuck in. I mean, we started at about 12, and I guess we probably went to bed, you know, before it got light, so 4 or 5. But yeah, we really, you know, we had a lot to catch up, a lot to talk about, and you know, it was fun. It was great. But I'm hanging now, obviously.